I'll speak very briefly about two things. One, about the tragedy that I think also captured the imagination of Canadians on that night in April when your processing plant burned down. I remember seeing the images on television on the national news that night of the fire, and I remember the next morning your Member of Parliament, Judy Foote, talking to me, talking to the Prime Minister, talking to cabinet colleagues about the need to very quickly make available the full resources of the Government of Canada to help the people of this great community. Whether it's agencies like ACOA, which I know have stepped up and have become, I think and I believe, a valuable partner for community groups, whether it's working with some of the great entrepreneurs of this province, like the Quinlans, who have invested and have run successful, globally competitive businesses for generations, and asking them to join in partnership with governments. The provincial government obviously played a big role. So every Canadian, I think, was touched by the tragedy that this fire represented. As I learned about the plant here and the volume and the ability to be the biggest, if not one of the very biggest in the world in terms of crab processing, the tens of millions of dollars a year that was contributed to the local economy by the plant that sat right behind me. I don't think anybody who cares about the economic future of small coastal communities like Bay de Verde or the ones I represent in New Brunswick. Poor Ken thought that every riding in New Brunswick has the word bay in it. No, it's Beau Séjour. It's like Bay de Verde. My riding is a French name, just like Bay de Verde. But I have small coastal communities which depend on the fishery. And your community and here in Bay de Verde and right across this great province are examples of great entrepreneurs and communities that have faced challenges before and have come out every bit more resilient for it. So the Department of Fisheries and Oceans, at the request of Judy Foote, in the days that followed this tragic fire, I know was involved with local harvesters, local fishers, the local industry, monitoring obviously the progress of fisheries here, dealing with things as important as providing some flexibility in the dockside monitoring process, allowing landings to take place at alternate sites. The local harbor authority, the volunteers, the women and men who make up a local harbor authority. Imagine what that tragic fire meant for these women and men who've sacrificed so much time and so much energy to build up the terrific harbor that stands behind us now. All of these people needed to know the Government of Canada was there, and I know Judy Foote and Minister Crocker and the province of Newfoundland and Labrador were key partners at that time. One of the things that obviously was very important is to begin immediately planning the construction of a new wharf at the fish plant site, and to assure all of you, because I know that's the good news that you're looking forward to hearing this afternoon, and my colleague Judy Foote will go into considerable detail in terms of the investments here. I'm here as the Minister of Fisheries and Oceans to tell you that the Government of Canada will be investing millions of dollars very quickly to ensure the reconstruction of the wharf, in partnership obviously with the businesses that will also invest, to ensure that the economic future of this community remains as bright as it was on the night that that terrible fire broke out. I also want to talk to you a little bit, and I'll finish with this, about the investments that our government is going to make in small craft harbors across the province of Newfoundland and Labrador. We recognize, and I've known as, I thought that was a sort of an ageism dig when Ken said that I'd been in the House of Commons for 16 years. I know as much as anybody the importance of safe, efficient harbors in terms of prosecuting a business as difficult as harvesting fish. The women and men who depend on this infrastructure know that safe, efficient harbors not only are good for businesses that invest and good for bringing quality product to market, but good for improving also the economic future of communities. And that's why our government, in a budget that our colleague Bill Morneau presented in March, announced $289 million of increased investments to improve across the country small craft harbors and community economic infrastructure. So recognizing how important these harbors are, I'm happy to announce today that this year the Government of Canada will be spending a total of $68.2 million for small craft harbors across the province of Newfoundland and Labrador. The money that I announced now the details will be announced in communities like this across the province of Newfoundland and Labrador by my colleagues like Nick Whalen, who's here, by Ken, and by our other colleagues from Newfoundland and Labrador in the coming days. The key thing for us is to acknowledge that this money will in turn leverage investments from harbor authorities, will allow businesses to make investments they need to also modernize their facilities, and will ensure for the women and men who work on wharves like this a safe and efficient infrastructure. For many years, and because of increasing climate change concerns, the storms and the extreme weather have taken a toll on much of this infrastructure. So the Government of Canada will be a reliable partner for all of you in the next number of years in trying to catch up on work that should have been done for a long time, but also accelerate work that perhaps had been planned before but becomes more urgent now than ever before. So this is an example here in Bay de Verde that Judy will talk about, but province-wide it is just the beginning. If you look at a 2-year period, that number will be well over $100 million. If you look at a 4-year period, you can imagine that amount of money invested in harbors may be $250 million. So there will be many, many millions of dollars that my colleague members of Parliament will be announcing to repair and improve harbor infrastructure over the coming months. So I sort of wanted to kick it off in Bay de Verde and tell you how happy I am, and I'll finish with this, to be in your great province, to be here as the Minister of Fisheries and Oceans in the Canadian Coast Guard, but to be here with so many friends in a community that went through such a difficult time only 3 months ago. And I want to salute the volunteers and the community people who have been patient and have contributed to today's positive announcement, and also salute the Quinlan family who have, as I said earlier, invested their money and run a global business, frankly a world-leading business from Newfoundland and Labrador, and are prepared also to make the investments that show faith in the community and the people who live here, and the resource that will hopefully sustain generations of Newfoundlanders and Labradorians for a long time to come. Merci beaucoup. Thank you very much.